In our last lesson, we ventured forth into the territory of long division and learned how to divide a multi-digit number by a one-digit number. It's actually not so hard. We just need to do small steps of division at a time with each digit of the dividend. Within these small steps, we need to perform three main actions. Do you remember them? First, we find out how many divisors it takes to reach or almost reach the dividend. When you get that number, that's our second action. We multiply it by the divisor to get an answer. For our third action, we subtract that answer from the dividend to see if there are any remainders. And that's one small division step done. For the next step, you copy down the next digit, put it next to the remainder, and then you do all of those actions all over again until we run out of digits. Now, would you be surprised or scared if I told you that's just the easy mode of long division? Because we've only divided by one-digit divisors so far. What if we stumble upon long division with two-digit numbers or even three-digit numbers? Well, don't worry. We're going to learn all about that in today's lesson. Here we have 486 divided by 23. Let's try the same process as if we're dividing by a one-digit number. We break 486 to 4, 8, and 6. In step 1, we divide 4 by 23. The divisor is too big compared to 4. So dividing with each digit isn't going to work in this situation. So what do we do now? Here's a way. Let's group 4 and 8 to form 48. Hey, we just made a number that's bigger than 23. Aren't we smart? So what did we learn from this? Sometimes taking one digit at a time to divide is not the best way when you have a big divisor. Or in this case, a multi-digit divisor. That means we need to group the digits to form a big enough number so that we can start dividing. All right, step 1, dividing 48 by 23. First, how many 23s do we need to reach or almost reach 48? Well, we can't find multiples of 23 on the multiplication table, I'll tell you that much. So here are two other ways you can figure out the answer. 1, you can draft a list of multiples of 23 on the side. 23 times 1 equals 23. 23 times 2 equals 46. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, you can see that 46 almost reaches 48. So the number of divisors that we're looking for is 2. Lucky for us, we don't have to write a long list to find out how many 23s can almost reach 48, huh? But if you're not a list writer and you want to save some time, here's a second way. We can use the power of rounding and estimating. But how do we harness this power? Well, 23 is an odd number, and that's hard to work with. We can round 23 down to the nearest tenth, and that's 20. 20. 20 is a much prettier number because we can easily figure out its multiples. Sorry, 23. It's not you, it's me. So we can calculate that 2 20s make a 40, which is kind of close to 48. And since 20 is the nearest number when you round down 23, we can estimate that 2 23s can result in a number that is also close to 48. We can test it out by multiplying 23 by 2. And we already know the answer because we started that list. It's 46. Those are the two ways for you to figure out how many divisors it takes to almost reach the dividend when the divisor is a multi-digit number. Okay, now that we know that 2 23s can almost fit into 48, and we've multiplied 2 by 23 to get 46, it's time for some subtraction action to see how big the remainder is. 48 minus 46 equals 2. Whew, what a workout. But don't relax just yet, because we haven't touched the third digit, which is 6. For step 2, we'll copy 6 and put it next to 2. We don't need to write any list or estimate anything. It's clear that it only takes 123 to almost reach 26. We'll put 1 on top, next to 2, and aligned with 26. 1 times 23 equals 23, and 26 minus 23 equals 3. Since 486 doesn't have any digits left for us to copy down, we have finished this long division. And the answer to 486 divided by 23 is 21, with a remainder of 3. Great job! Now you know how to divide a multi-digit number by a 2-digit number. But with the same dividend, but a different divisor, do you think you could figure it out? Here, check this out. 486 divided by 54. Let's do the same thing we did in our previous problem. We group 4 and 8 to form 48. Then figure out how many 54s it takes to almost reach 48. Wait, 48 is smaller than 54. That means we need to group another digit as well to make a number bigger than 54. We only have 6 left, so 4, 8, and 6 forms 486, and divide that by 54. Hold on a second. Isn't this literally the entire division problem? So we can't break this down into smaller steps? Yep, it's sad but true, my friends. When you have a complicated division with a multi-digit divisor, we can't tackle it little by little. And we have no choice but to deal with it as a big problem. Hey, at least we can solve this division in one step, right? But man, is it one really big step. Okay, first things first. How many 54s do we need to reach or almost reach 486? We can try to multiply 54 by every number and form a list. I don't know about you, but that's too many multiplications to do. So why don't we try rounding and estimating? 50 is pretty close to 54, so we can round 54 down. Then we can change the question to, how many 50s do we need to reach or almost reach 486? Finding multiples of 50 is much easier than 54, right? We have 150, 2 50s make 100, 3 50s is 150, and so on. Check this out. 9 50s makes 450. That's close to our dividend. So let's try that. We need to put 9 on top. And since we're dividing with the whole number of 486, 9 should align with 6. All right, it's time to multiply. It's a multi-digit multiplication, so be sure to calculate carefully on the side. 9 multiplied by 54 equals 486. And 486 minus 486 equals 0. Wow, we ended up solving this division nicely with 0 remainder. Or, as I like to say, we ate and left no crumbs behind. Yeah, you caught me. I'm still hungry from the previous videos. We should put a cupcake in here somewhere. Before we wrap this one up, here's one important note for you. Take a look at this division. 2,630 divided by 25. The first step has been done for you. So here's a recap. We take 26 and divide it by 25. Since 125 is almost enough to reach 26, we put 1 on top. 1 multiplied by 25 equals 25. Then we subtract it from 26 to get 1. What do you think the next step is? We copy 3 down and continue to divide, right? But then it'll make 13. How can 13 be divided by 25? Don't you worry about that. When you try to divide a smaller number by a bigger number, the answer is 0, with a remainder of that smaller number. Why? Because in this case, just 125 is enough to surpass 13. That means we don't need any 25 to reach 13. We need to put a 0 on top, then we can copy down the next digit and start the next division step. Now that you know how to divide a smaller number by a bigger number in between a long division, let's speed run the rest of this problem. To almost reach 130, we need about 5 25s. 5 times 25 equals 125, and 130 minus 125 equals 5. The answer to 2,630 divided by 25 is 105 with a remainder of 5. And that's all for today's lesson. I'd say we've covered a lot of new knowledge on long division. Let's review it together. When having a multi-digit divisor, we can't divide each digit of the dividend anymore. Instead, we need to group them up. Sometimes the divisor can be so big that you can't break it down into smaller steps. And you have to deal with one step, which is the entire division problem itself. Lastly, if we stumble upon a dividend smaller than the divisor in the middle of our division steps, don't fret, just put a 0 on the answer line, then copy down the next digit and keep dividing. If you think division is long and tedious, don't worry. We're going to give you some fun tips and tricks to help you divide faster. So stay tuned and don't miss out on our next video.